First of all, thank you again for the opportunity to share a little bit of the work we do here in Brazil. My name is Ariela. I'm a biologist and I am a researcher at Waita, a research institute in Minas Gerais, Brazil. And today I'm going to share a little bit with you guys about my master thesis, where I studied the behavioral responses of this species, the Vinacea's breasted Amazon parrots, to anti-predator trainings. So here we're talking about translocations that are human-mediated movements of living beings, animals, or plants from one area to be released in another. And those translocations can have many different purposes. The one we study are the conservation translocations that usually has low success rate, especially because of the lack of skills of these new animals or plants, living beings, to survive in this new environment. So when we're talking about translocating animals, those animals may come from the wild, maybe savage animals, or must be animals raised in captivity. And in both cases, predation exerts a lot of pressure among them. And to a translocation to have success, we need the animals to survive. So a technique that has been employed is the pre-release training of those animals. Training must consist in many different techniques, but one that has been used is the classical conditioning technique that consists in associating a conditioning stimulus with an aversive stimulus to have a conditioned answer. To create this kind of training, we must design a protocol, and to design it, we must take into account some little things. It includes the species specificities and also the frequency of training, because it's not going to be the same for each species, and it may cause habituation of the animals. That's what we don't want, right? So here at Waita, we performed the Projeto Voar, or Project to Fly, that aims the rehabilitation, release, and monitoring of psittacides. And one of them is the Vinacea's breasted Amazon parrot, or Amazona vinacea, that it is an endangered species, especially because the habitat loss and the illegal capture of nestlings. And here in this study, we evaluated the behavioral responses of this species to anti-predator training. We evaluated the hypothesis that anti-predator training of those captive parrots can stimulate adequate behaviors that would be those aversive behaviors towards predators. So we expected that training would stimulate those behaviors. And we also expected that parrots could distinguish between the predators models and those harmless stimulus. And here we also evaluated whether parrots habituated to the training protocol proposed. So this study was performed between June and May. Oops, sorry. Let me just hide it. Between June to September of 2021 in the city of Belo Horizonte in the state of Minas Gerais, Brazil. We had a group of 11 parrots that were 5 males and 6 females. Most of them were illegally trapped from the wild, but we had 5 parrots that were born in captivity. We perform a lot of physical and clinical evaluations in these parrots before starting training. They are all marked with microchip metal rings painted in different colors. And to identify each individual, because when we look to a group of these species, they are mostly all the same, we did some painting in the chest with different colors. And our training protocol consisted in using the classical conditioning technique that I mentioned, where we associated predator models with an aversive stimulus. we had 4 predator models that were a jaguar here, printed in a cardboard. We used a bird of prey, a dog, and a person. And as a control, we also used a plastic common chair. And the aversive stimulus that we chose was this person disguised here, and performing a pursuit of the birds, because this person entered into the aviary and run to scare the birds, and this would be an efficient aversive stimulus for us. So our protocol consisted in presenting the predator for 36 seconds, then the predator was taken away and entered the aversive stimulus for another 30 seconds. After that, the predator was shown to the birds for another 30 seconds. And that's it, a very short training. And the control training with the chair consisted in the same protocol, but we didn't have this aversive stimulus. So each predator was shown in one place of the precinct. The jaguar was in this side, outside the aviary, the dog, the chair. The bird of prey was shown to the birds from the top of the aviary, and the person was the only one that entered the aviary. Here I have a short video to show you. Let me see if it's gonna work. No, it's not charging here for me, so I'm gonna skip it and then I can share with you guys. So all our training sessions were video recorded, and all the data we collected from this footage analysis using the focal animal methodology with instantaneous recording for every 15 seconds. All those procedures were previously tested, so we don't have any problem during those tests. And we did 3 repetitions with each predator model and with the chair twice a week, and all the parrots were trained in group at the same time. We did a bunch of statistical analysis to identify which were the behavioral responses during training, which behaviors were most expressed, and if we have behavioral changes over time. So what we found, that for the behaviors walking, escaping, preening, and feeding, we had significant results. We saw that parrots walked more in the presence of the dog, the human, and the bird of prey than in the presence of the jaguar and the chair. We also saw that birds escaped more in training with dog, human, jaguar, and bird of prey than with the chair, as expected. And in training with the chair, parrots preened and fed more. And we also saw that the behavior walking had a decrease in frequency during the days of training, while the behavior alert has an increase. That was a good answer. So we saw that training could stimulate aversive behaviors in the parrots, especially because of this increase of the behavior alert, followed by this decrease of the behavior walking. Walking is a mild answer, but always represents a perception of fear. Other studies with stemmer wallabies, crab spiders, and hellbender salamanders also had the same results. And this reduction in this behavior, followed by the increase of the behavior alert, was a good result. We saw that in front of the chair, the parrots show more relaxed behaviors. It means that the chair doesn't elicit fears in the birds as expected, because it is not a threat and because it is not paired with an aversive stimulus. And it shows to us that parrots learned to associate danger only to those significant stimulus that are the predators. So we saw here that parrots show no habituation signs neither to the aversive stimulus nor the number of training sessions or the time interval. What we chose here was adequate to the species. We had in the total 15 sessions performed twice a week, but what we had here cannot be, may not have the same performance for other species because one size not always fits for all. So here we saw that training elicited aversive behaviors in the parrots. The parrots show appropriate behavioral changes throughout time. The control, that was the chair, didn't elicit fear in the parrots, and the animals did not habituate to the experiments. Those are all great results, but it's hard to know that if they would have the same responses, and if these responses would be even effective in a real predator-prey encounter. So it is of the utmost importance that we do those animals monitoring before release. That's what we have been done. Those are some partners. Okay, thank you all.